You guys suck. All right, so, this is foot and mouth disease, so that to me means inappropriate things, just like Jessica talked about. I was going to say something stupid tonight anyway. I decided to get it out of the way early. Now, I have a disclaimer. I am somewhere on the autism spectrum. I've never been formally diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, but I'm pretty certain I have it. That means that I'm going to say stupid things pretty much on a regular basis. I have another disclaimer. I was an abused child all the way from my little kid days all the way through my teens. And that means that I turned into a bit of a liar in my home life. I was pretty honest outside of my home, but I was always trying to get out of something that Asperger's had put me into. It never really worked. I always got caught, but school was my safe zone, so I had a tendency to tell the truth there. How many people can say school was their safe zone? I joined the Navy when I was 18, in part to escape the abusive situation, and I swore when I left home at 18 that I would start telling the truth across my entire life, and then to that extent, I think I've kind of fulfilled that promise. Now, my mother-in-law talks about the notion of when something comes out of your mouth, is it true and is it kind? Now, because of my tell the truth mandate, is it true for me is pretty easy to do, but is it kind? Because of the Asperger's, is it really relevant up here in my head? So as you can imagine, I've said a few inappropriate things over the years. Now, at this point in crafting my story, I went online, I was looking for a phrase that pays. And what I found was everybody wants something smaller, something neater than the truth. I suppose I could have just gone with, "You can't handle the truth," Jack Nicholson in A Few Good Men. Ultimately, both of those phrases basically say, yeah, people don't really want you to be totally honest with them. Yeah, that purple hair doesn't really look all that good on you. They don't want to hear that. They want you to be nice to them. So that's kind of hard for somebody with Asperger's. And again, I've said some stupid things over the years. How far back does this go? How far back do I remember? I go to my 9th grade. I was in the high school band, and we were practicing for the holiday concert. And we were practicing sleigh bells. Now, if you know that Noel, you know that at the end there's a trumpet playing part that is supposed to sound like a horse neigh. And the guy that was playing, wasn't that good. The guy that was playing the trumpet, he was having a hard time with it. So I popped out with what I thought was a joke and said, "That horse sounds pretty sick." Thought it was a joke. Mr. Fisher, the band director, looked directly at me and said, "Well, we can't all be perfect." I thought he was adding to my joke. It took me many years before I figured out that he was yelling at me. Many years. Oh, oops. All right, so what other stupid things have I said? My wife is very nice, but she's kind of taken the brunt of it over the years because, we kind of hang out a lot together. She's got beautiful beautiful brown eyes. There you go. There's number 2. She got beautiful brown eyes. And we have 3 boys. They're all adults now, but they were all born by C-section. So she was laying on the operating room table, and they all have brown eyes. And I got blue eyes, and I was kind of hoping for at least one of them to pop out with blue eyes, but no, didn't happen. So when the 3rd one was born, again, operating room table, C-section, she's laying there, and I said, "You nailed another one." Now, Colleen is kind of prone to, she cries. She wears her emotions on her sleeve. And with the hormones of childbirth, she was definitely on the edge there, and that kind of pushed her over. And because it was a C-section, because she was in the hospital for a couple of days, I spent the rest of that hospital stay apologizing. Now, again, I said our 3 kids are all adults, but when they were small and I would pick them up, they would say, "Put me down." And I'd say, "You're ugly." And they'd say, "No, I mean, put me down." And I'd say, "I did. You're ugly." Now, I knew what I was doing there. I was teaching them how to take a mean joke. And quite frankly, at this point in their life, again, they're all adults, they kind of speak fondly of that. But I know I got some weird looks from Colleen over the years. Now, the last one is that I was kind of hanging out at my mother-in-law's house, and there was a kid from the neighborhood who joined the Navy. And he had taken the ASVAB test, which is a test that you take when you go into the military to figure out, A, can you get in, and B, what's going to be your job. And he had gotten a 60. It's a 100 question test, 100 points. He had gotten a 60. I'm like, that's a D minus. That's barely passing. You're proud of that? He asked me what I got. I told him I got a 98. My recruiter was really proud of my 98, but to this day, I can't figure out what 2 questions I missed. It was the easiest test I'd ever taken. Again, I got a death-defying look from Colleen because that kid didn't feel so good about his 60, and yeah, that was probably a little bit over the edge. That was probably a little bit too mean. So now, in my older years, I've kind of gotten better. I've kind of learned to keep my mouth shut a little bit. I should point out that Colleen is a dog trainer, and although I would never admit this in front of her, and she doesn't know this, she has taught this old dog a few new tricks. So I have learned to keep my mouth shut. For example, I was in the airport about a month ago, flying off to Mississippi, and I'm sitting at the airport, sitting at the gate, and in the row of seats across from me, a young woman sat down, and she was very attractive, but she was wearing way too much makeup. My youngest son tells me I'm not supposed to say that, but there it is, there's number 3. And even as we were sitting there, she was freshening her lipstick, probably putting on layer number 14, I don't know. You know, in my old days, I might have said something under my breath loud enough for that person to hear, "Foundation is for houses." But no, I kept my mouth shut. I didn't say a word. And then she opened up her suitcase. In that suitcase was nothing but shoes. No dresses, no pants, no toothbrush, no comb, shoes. 5 pair of 4-inch or higher heels, 6 pair of flats. Yes, I counted. Asperger's Jack was dying inside. Oh my God. Are those before and after shoes? Where's the pull? Shoeless Joe Jackson will be seriously jealous of you. And last but not least, meeting a dress code means having one so that you can put it on. But no, I sat there, I didn't say a word, just giggling on the inside. That's growth, right? If you don't agree, you guys suck. Thank you.